Hello, hello, hello. I think we're live. Ben's here. Hey, Ben. It's not showing. I'm trying to get this chat box window. Sorry. It's like, drop your questions down below. I'll move that over here. And then this EV, if anyone's live, obviously hi, drop your comments down below. I'm just having technical problems. And like, we use this software, EVMUX, and they've like just gone crazy and like blasted their promo everywhere. I think they want people to buy it. So let's kind of go through. How's everyone getting on? Drop your comments down below. I will just check that I'm live. I think Ben's in the YouTube. I just want to check that I'm actually live in my Facebook group. And obviously people can ask questions. Woohoo, we're here. Hey. Sorry for running late, everyone. Just obviously trying to get this working. And obviously, as you can probably guess, companies make their changes to the software, which is like, damn. So yeah, we're live. Woohoo. Cool. Right, that's it. So happy days. Cool. If you've got questions, please let me know down below. So Ben says hi. Hey, Ben. JGL2. Hey, Tom. Miguel says, hey, Miguel. Hey, Miguel. Hey, Tom. Hane Roy. I hope I'm saying that right. Not sure. Nice to see you. Let me just do comments as well. Facebook user says, hi Tom. Hey Facebook user. Let me know how you're getting on, what questions you've got. We've got 12 people joined already. This is like really good. So that means that people join like when you kind of know that I turn up, which is fantastic because obviously like I thought it was just like people go, oh look, Tom's live, I'll join him. So let's kind of give you an update where we're at. Obviously, if you've got questions, please drop them down below. I'm frustrated right now with Amazon. I think it's really funny. I say frustrated. It's the story of our lives, isn't it? I'm gated on a product whereby it's quite a significant amount of stock. And it's like, they're just not accepting the invoices. And we're like, please, for the love of God, we sold like 6 figures of this product and I would like to get ungated again. And it's like, So that's really frustrating. And then I was talking to a friend of mine and they were like, Amazon love-hate relationship. For example, it's for him right now, it's amazing. He's like, wow, I'm making so much money. Like literally like, wow. More than what people would normally make in a year, in a month, he's making. And then we're talking about section 3s, then it's amazing. Then it's like UK place of establishment, which is rubbish, and then it's amazing again. So like it's just really up, down, hot, cold, hot, cold. So I think you can all understand that if you're obviously joining that as well. So let's kind of jump through. Ravi says, hey Tom Tom. Hello Tom Tom. If you want to know, Tom Tom in Vietnamese is shrimp. So I am Mr. Shrimp in Vietnam. So let's go through. TM70. Hi Tom. I'm looking at changing my registration business address from my home address to another location, possibly virtual. Do you have any tips, please? You can do it. Okay, let's slow down. I would probably recommend waiting, give it like a month. Why? Because right now, the UK place of establishment, I'm assuming you're in the UK, is a big problem. And they're basically saying virtual addresses are not a place of registered business, and so therefore causes problems. So right now I would not want to be changing anything on my address because of the given situation. So I just give it a month to let that calm down and then obviously kind of get through, because there's a massive backlog with Amazon and lots of people have got their money held up. Now the next one is, so yes, no problem with doing it in virtual address, that's absolutely fine. Just find one with a good reputable supplier, look at your Trustpilot reviews, just make sure they're good, because there's probably a lot of them, but you want the ones that have been around for a long time that are working. So next one on top of that is, you're probably going to want to change your bank statements over before you change your Amazon business, because they're going to want proof of it. So it might be like, we changed the business address, here's all the bank statements, done. It might even be worth actually asking Amazon to say, we're looking at changing our moving address, what would we need to provide you? They might give you a list of documents, so I might do that in first. Because the one question I'm going to ask is like, they might ask for utility bills, which is going to be a nightmare. So just to understand that, I would ask the question to Seller Central first before you do it, and then I think that will guide you. And then the next question would be, bank statements are usually the easy one to do. I have a problem whereby we bank with Santander, and for some stupid reason, Santander make my personal address the same as the business address. So like, it's just really weird. So not very useful, but I definitely ask them that and get what they want, and then have that all ready to submit to them, and make sure everything's perfect. Like if you are like Fast Track FBA Limited, it does say Fast Track FBA Limited or LTD, but if you've got LTD, it can't say Limited. it's got to literally be exactly the same. Amazon are really OCD about that, so I hope that makes sense. You said, yeah, you're okay, USA, fantastic. So yeah, absolutely fine, but just be mindful. Guys, you got questions, drop them down below. Obviously, I will help you out. Miguel, are you doing any changes to your business in terms of unit economics for the new inbound fee charging the 1st of March the 1st? I read a white paper from Carbon 6 and the changes are significant. Yeah, there's a... I'm sure I'm going to read some more about it. So there's 2 big changes coming up. Number 1, the inbound fee changes, and number 2 is the low inventory fee changes. I've not really thought too much about the inbound. I can talk about the inventory fee changes. If you are doing any significant sum, put it this way, in the UK, I don't think it's going to be a big difference. In the USA, I think it might possibly be because the shipping costs are quite substantial or relative. The one kind of hack I've seen is Watch Me Amazon's Larry Lebowski's what's it called? What's his software he created? It's not GoToLister. It's something else. Completely forgotten. Someone comment down below what Larry's. But basically, the way he kind of works is he creates a shipment 3 times bigger than what you want. 2D workflow. Thank you. 2D workflow. So the way he does it is he creates like a shipment 3 times bigger than what you actually want to ship. So then it expects to be split, and then therefore it will cancel 2 of the shipments and keep the one that you want, which is basically a hack. And I think, like, will Amazon fix it? Maybe, but I don't think everyone in the world is going to do that hack, so it's kind of like they need to prioritize. So you might be able to get around it for a while. I don't think it's going to be like, it's going to have an impact regardless. And I think you're not really going to realize it into anything. If anything, cool. So let's put it this way. Shipping products and even the low inventory fees. So if I talk about the low inventory fees, because I think that's an important kind of consideration, and I would bound this on the inbound charges. Like, basically, at the end of the day, you're just getting extra costs charged to your products. So you need to keep improving the margin. And one easy way to do this is by just going higher value items. For example, in the inventory, low inventory fees, this is going to really affect OA sellers, and it's really going to affect OA sellers who are doing low value items. There might be amazing ROI. Like, for example, if you were to buy something for $1 or £1 and sell it for $10 and make £1 profit, well, hey, your ROI is amazing, but now all of a sudden that £1 or $1 profit you're making is now going to get eaten up by additional fees, which is just going to cost you. So I think, like, generally the move to higher value items is probably where you're going to want to go, because you can just absorb the cost. It's not really going to cost you very much. Also as well, as we scale, you have more available capital, and if you are buying lots of small items, unless you're going super deep, which then the 28 days worth of inventory isn't going to be a problem. I think it's 28 days. But like, then the only question comes is, you can just absorb that if you're going higher value items. But if you're doing, OA is going to get hit, but on the other hand is like your FBA fee is going to be reduced, I believe, and then they're putting this new fee in. It's just not going to be nice. And I think right now, if there's anything that I'm doing is kind of like higher value items, and I always say this, higher value items, more cash profits in there, so you can absorb some of the costs. And then until it comes in, you don't really know. Like, you've got to figure out. And you're right. Like, I was there when the Carbon 6 did the other white paper. It was really, really good. It was really helpful when there's a previous update, and I think they did a really good job. But it's just not easy. Like, sometimes you just got to be like, let's just see what happens to the market, because we don't really understand. But Amazon have thought this through, and they're obviously just like, how can we get more money? Miguel, let me know what you're doing, what your thoughts are on it. But I think I'd definitely, if you're doing enough volume, I'd look at, if you're doing self-prep 2D workflow, hopefully Prep Centers are going to do a similar thing. Number 2 is just increasing the profitability per item. And I think you mentioned down below, which I'll come to in a minute, around revenue or profits per item. So again, it's just that lower end, the bottom end, which is high volume. It's going to be really interesting, because then it's just going to really, like, that's just going to be really wholesale, like low, think about grocery, very low cash profits, high volume, like volume. That's where it's just going to be wholesale. You won't be able to do it on OA. It'll be too challenging unless you get high cash profits. Hope that makes sense. But I do need to check out that Carbon 6 white paper. So thank you for reminding me. Yes, UK here. Cool. Khan, Hi Tom, any tips for going VAT registered and then dealing with electronic returns? 2 questions. Tom needs a drink. Right, VAT registered. Easy, simple one. Step 1, change your calculator right now to VAT. Just turn it on. I know you're going to be like, oh my God, they're not as profitable. Yep, you got to do it now, because if you do not do it now, then the moment you go VAT registered, you're going to have loads of rubbish deals. It's better to start buying good deals now when it works for VAT registered. So do that. Number 2, it is going to hard. It is a lot harder. I promise you that's a horrible place. I hate to say it. One area you can look at is non-VAT, non-0% VAT items. You basically save the money on the fees. It's okay. It's not great. It's just harder. You've got to get more competitive. Like doing normal OA is going to be a lot harder because people who are not VAT registered just have a 16.6% advantage against you. The next part is get all your invoices for previous purchases and get all your invoices for services up until the 6 months prior. So at the point of VAT registration, you can claim back 6 months of service costs, and you can claim back the inventory you're holding in Amazon or in your warehouses at the point of registration. So generally your first VAT return is a cash back. You get money back rather than paying it, which is good. And then in regards to electronics returns, you just got to view it by return rates, obviously, and look into the reason why. That's it. It's not nice. You've got to get into the detail. It's horrible, but you have to do it. So it's just dig the detail. That's it. But even when you're doing VAT registered, it might be things that you look at, like wholesale, for example, because you can buy deeper, and also open up wholesalers when you're not VAT registered is perceived to be harder. I'm not saying they won't do it, but you can do it. We opened up a wholesaler, when we were not VAT registered. It was fine. You can do it. So, but most people don't. They just do OA. So, hope that makes sense. 2D workflow, cool. 2D workflow, yep. Check that out. That's the thing. So, TM7, thank you so much. And in terms of having a virtual address for the business and a shipping address for deliveries and returns, I take it as a possibility. Yeah. One key tip you want to do: make sure you put your shipping address as a return address on your Amazon Seller Central account. So basically, it's kind of like I think it would be number 1 where they collect their orders from, but also number 2 where they can return items to. Why? Because when you get invoices, if the address on the invoice does not match the address on the account, which obviously it won't, because where you're shipping to versus the billing address, sometimes they don't put billing address and shipping address separately. They'll just put one address. If they don't match, Amazon don't accept it. But if you do have the address in the business on the Seller Central account, it does make a difference. And the way to think about it is like a company with multiple warehouse locations. That would be a very normal business operation for a larger company, and so therefore the paperwork might not have a delivery address of the main head office because it's going to a different warehouse. So that's the way to think it. So yes, definitely you can do it. Like you can have, and also though you can have different shipping and billing. Quick thing: if you're in the USA, different shipping and billing is really difficult. It's basically just a reason for cancellation. So we generally we basically just move our billing address to the prep center. You can do it on some cards, it works. So that gets us orders through. Not all the time, but a lot of the time it helps. Miguel, I do OA in the USA right now. My profit per unit is around $7. Fantastic. But always working to raise it. Even one, because for example, I saw 5x the cost on I saw it's 5 times the cost on the new fee stack. Yeah, like it's just like we've always got to be pushing that cost. Like, it's something we're going through and I see struggling with right now within my business. We've got cash to spend, and when we analyze deals, the amount we buy is good, but we can spend more, but I don't want to drop the quality of the deals. So then you start having into like, how do you scale better? So then the answer is, do you hire more staff? And I've been there, 88 staff, or do you go for higher value items, which is what we're looking at. So we're trying to do that. And generally when you get higher value items, you'll get higher profit per unit, for example, because it's a percentage base. So that's a good example. It's not easy, but I do think you're right, like raising it. And I think as sellers, when we think about scaling, there are many ways to scale the business, i.e. buy more of what you're buying, get more staff to buy the same, to find more deals that you can buy higher value items, go deeper on the existing items. There's lots of different ways, like go deeper, buy more of the same types of products, buy more value items. And generally when we talk about scaling, we talk about increasing the revenue, which is generally increasing cost of goods, which means generally buying more. And then how you do that, there's quite a few different ways. Or obviously go more profitable, but like if it was Tom like just saying, yeah, just go find more profitable items, like if it was that easy, you'd be like, cool, like why have I not done it already? Because, damn, you should have told me to go for more profitable, because obviously I had a big bank of profitable products that I could have bought, but I didn't. I bought the least profitable ones. Like that just doesn't exist. So generally when we talk about more profit per unit, when you think about percentage terms, you just go higher value. It's not easy. It's really not. Like this is why a lot of people like sneakers side, because sneakers you're generally buying for like $30, $50, $70, $100. And you're selling for like $50 to $250. So the profit per unit is quite significant, which means you can start absorbing fees. So like a lot of the resellers, OA on sneakers, generally okay. But when you're doing more lower volumes, it comes a bigger cost because it was cost per unit. So yeah, it's going to be a big cost. I'll be interesting to see. I've got to read that thing you said. Thank you, Miguel. TM70. I've registered as a limited company, but do I need to be VAT registered? I've registered as a limited company, so do I need to be VAT registered? I'm just going through your course. I wasn't sure about registration. So I assume you're in the UK. I'm just going to make sure it's the same person. Yeah, you're in the UK. You do not need to be VAT registered, no, unless you are. If you're a UK resident selling in the UK, you do not need to be VAT registered. If you are a non-UK resident, even if you have a UK limited company, I do believe you need to be VAT registered, and that's the whole big point about UK place of establishment right now in regards to VAT registration. That's a big issue. So if you are a non-UK resident, even with a UK company, you still need to be VAT registered. So yeah, and then I'd speak to an accountant. We use like e-commerce accountants. You just type in e-commerce accountants UK. You'll see the first guys. They're like kind of white and red. They're not cheap, but you can have a free qualification call with them. They might give you a bit of free advice, which is quite helpful. So yeah, check them out. I've used them for like 4 years. I quite like them. And when you say my course, what course are you going through? Let me know. I hope it's not the USA one, because obviously that's not very good for UK VAT. So let me know. Does your account does not qualify? I'm guessing this is in regards to the Facebook post around your account does not qualify. I do not really fully understand. So Mr. Facebook user, sorry, I can't see your name. Let me ask a question. Do you have revenue? Have you sold already on Amazon? And if so, is it more than like 1,000, 5,000, 10,000 pounds or dollars? Because a lot of people try to get ungated before they even sold anything. And I'm like, it's like, don't, just start selling stuff. Number two is there are ASINs whereby you just cannot sell them. It will not happen. Like Apple, I will never be able to sell. There are ASINs whereby it's like, nope, you're doing. And then I think the question comes is, that's it. But when I looked at your image, it said something really weird. You do not qualify. I'm like, what does that mean? Like normally it says like, I'm sorry, we're not accepting brand applications for this anymore. Please speak to the brand direct. Yours is just a big red, you do not qualify. I'm like, oh, what the hell does that mean? So I think so long as you've got sales over £5,000-10,000, I would probably be saying to you, raise a case and sell essential. You know what? It doesn't really matter. I just raise a case and sell essential anyway and ask them, what does do not qualify mean? Because like, I get that, but I've never seen it before. So like, why am I seeing it? It's quite new. And then number two is the fact that if you haven't got sales, just get sales anyway. But I'd probably move on to a different product. It's horrible. I know it's absolutely horrible. I know like, I want to sell this product, but like, unfortunately the rules are, and I think we saw it with Clinique, you can sell on Amazon, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you can sell the product, but it doesn't necessarily mean you can sell it on Amazon. You are legally allowed to sell it, but it does not mean that Amazon has to let you sell it on their platform, which is like, I hate you. So I get that, I understand, but it is their thing. And at the end of the day, sometimes it's kind of like we're trying to hit a head against a wall against a company who's not really listening, and so therefore we're just probably wasting our time. It might be better to find something else. And again, which is why I don't go too deep on one product, which right now, we're not that deep on one product, but it is a significant sum. And when we're like, hey, can you get me ungated? Like, it's not even happening, which is like it's so annoying. I'm just checking now. Like, have I been ungated? Nope. They've not even said anything back to me. That's fine. That's all right. Right. Let's go. I have 8 boxes sent to Amazon, each with 30 items in each box. Amazon's saying they only received around 22 in each box. How can I make them pay for this loss? So the easiest way to do it is, if you have not done this, you will obviously now learn the lesson. But number one is make sure your shipping rates are correct. What do I define by shipping rates? That is going to be, one second. Shipping rates are correct. So not rates, weights. So let's say, for example, each item is 500 grams. That'd be 15 kilograms of weight plus maybe 200 grams to the box, or 500 grams to the box. So you should have a shipping weight of 15.5 kilos, which would evident be the 30 items shipped in. Now, if you did not put the shipping rates right, then you've got a problem because you can't prove that the weight was correct. Now, ideally you want the UPS tracking, which says like 15.5 kilograms, and then you're like, each product weighs 500 grams. So therefore it's 30 items. It doesn't make sense, 20 items I'm saying. So I'm not doing, my math is really bad right now. I need more coffee. So, you know, the weight adds up and then the weight of the box, and that's good. Whereas if they were correct at 22, then all of a sudden the box weighs more than what they're saying it is, which can't be true because the box cannot magically weigh more. So that's what you want to do. So that's step one. That's an easy one you should do. Check the box weights. Step two, it's quite challenging. They ask you to provide invoices, so you need to have the invoices to show that you've purchased that many. And then step three, the more challenging part actually is like Kev Blackburn, Systemized Fulfillment, they video record the boxes being packed, which is like really OCD, but it's for this very reason. When you have that 8 bot units missing, you grab the video recording, go, here's the box. And then, like, I think they've had 100% success rate because they can just prove that the box is being packed and sealed with what it said it's been packed, which is really important. So that's really the only way. And really, it's you're fighting against someone who's not really listening unless you can prove the other way. Like, that's the problem. The problem is that it's not to say that you're lying, but if you can't prove that they're lying, then you've got the problem. So that's why the weights and that's why the video recordings really help. So Wagnutman, I hope that makes sense. What a name, Wagnutman. TM70, perfect, thank you. So that's clear now. UK resident in the UK, so thanks. Cool. Yeah. Oh, by the way, do check out my video. I'll give you a top tip. I think you're talking about limited company. I don't know if you're thinking about going limited company. Okay, you've registered as a limited company. I would probably say today, go on my YouTube channel, look in accounting, look for a picture of me and this guy in accounting with VAT. It's Joe, who's the owner of e-commerce accountants. Watch that because we talk about something known as VAT, or resetting the VAT threshold, which, by the way, if you are a UK resident, you should trade under your primary name first. Try doing that and then go to a limited company, because you basically can take the same Seller Essential account over to the limited company and you get to reset the VAT registration. It's really, really good. Pardon me. But you want to know about that. Like, it's reasonably complex, but it's a nuance which is only applicable if you are going from a personal, you're selling under a professional selling Amazon account under your personal name, and then you move the professional selling account under the limited company, and when you move over, you basically get to start again with the VAT registration, which is really good, and it's like a really weird nuance, but it is advantageous. And why do I say this? Because you've just heard it somewhere else earlier on, that selling in the UK when you are VAT registered is a lot more difficult. So if you can keep yourself under that threshold for longer, it makes it a lot more advantageous. So I will just say it now. Watch that video, go to my YouTube channel, scroll back, I think about 3 years ago, it's a long time. You'll see a picture of an accountant. We're both together in the same room, not an online one, it's an in-person one. And I'm like, there's a guy called Joe Cox, he's the owner of the e-commerce accountants, and he talks about it in there. So I'd really, really check that out. If you don't know, just like comment and I'll find like go into my Facebook group or something, but you'll find it in my emails. I feel in the UK, and I mainly do RA, running all over London to buy products. Yeah, I do think. Do you think in order to scale I should focus on OA? If you can do, by the way, I know people who did 1 million doing RA in the UK. I know people doing 2 million in the USA doing RA, which is incredible, but it is so much hard work. But you can do it. Like, at the end of the day, if you want to make the money and willing to work hard, yeah, fantastic. Of course, you can do it. And when we talk about scale, it's like, what do you want? Like, you can do OA, it's fine, but obviously the deals you can access, everyone else can access, which makes it a lot more competitive. It's not easy. It's really not easy. I'll say that. Like, but you can definitely do it. And then if you're going to think about that, if you want to scale bigger than OA, you know, like we hit 3 million plus in the UK in 1 year. And I think we probably hit kind of like, I wouldn't say the limit, not at all, but just buying and reselling OA in the UK at 3 million a year was probably like where I'd say that I wouldn't want to go back to that place again. I would have probably transitioned more over to wholesale around like, or blended wholesale in like the 2 million mark, or once I hit 7 figures, I think there's, you know, it's a good place to kind of transition through. So I think it depends what you want, Dimitri. Like it really does. And if you, Dimitri, what's your revenue right now? Let me know that question. And then obviously I can give you some feedback. TM70, I'm almost finished your top seller program. Woohoo! I'm glad you love it. Let me know obviously how we can improve it. Also what we can do to make it better. And I'm really interested, like what I can do next for you. Like ideally when you finish the top seller program, my vision is that you should be able to like think about, okay, I know what I'm doing. I know what I need to do now between now and getting a VA. And then obviously you get a VA and then you're like, cool, I know what I'm doing. And then you go on to the Seller Academy, which is obviously scaling with VAs, my systems, processes. So that's really big, high level. So, but let me know what we can do with the top seller program to help you out, to really kind of like take you to the next level and how to grow that. That would be really useful. So I hope that makes sense. Now, let me just kind of jump down. So what's the next one we've got here? So, one second. Tom's just having clicking issues. So the prep center has given me the weights. Cool. But also you've got to show the UPS shipping, because the shipping on the UPS has to show the correct weight, and then you've got to do the calculation. That does make sense. Let me know. JGLO2. Hey, JGLO2. Hey, Tom. OA seller here. Cool. I source mainly from the same 5 sites. Cool. Also, that have been good knowledge, or when I struggle to find a new deal sourcing from those sites, what advice have you got to do next? Find the 6th site that works for you. By the way, like, okay, 1 second. Tom needs coffee. It's a great question, and I would kind of use it in the same analogy of, okay, let's do this. 1 second. So this is something we're doing within the Seller Academy. We help our customers with it, but we're blending it with wholesale. So we're doing wholesale in the US. Now, whether you're doing wholesale or OA, exactly the same concept. Really what you're looking at is suppliers. Which suppliers do really well for me and which ones do not. So the way we think about it is we have what's known as our 3 core suppliers for each sourcer. Now, where does this, and then what we're always looking to do is to find test new suppliers to see if they can beat any of our existing suppliers, and if not, then you know that doesn't, like, then if it does, then obviously we'll replace them. So where does this come from? A guy called Dan 1000 Asins on Instagram, he basically said he does 12 million a year in sales, but of which 6 million come from just 5 suppliers, which is incredible. He was like, damn, man, we need to know what those 5 suppliers are. So what do we do within the Seller Academy? We have a really easy way. It takes about 15 minutes once per month, and we can see all the profitability, ROI, cash profits, percentage of profits delivered per supplier, which is literally amazing, because we've already noticed this supplier is rubbish, get rid of them. This supplier is amazing, focus more on them. And so what we do is we basically track those numbers every single month. We just do it on part of the P&L, and we're always like, who are your top 3 suppliers to each of my sources, and then why? Because we can see the ROIs on them. And then number 2 is the fact that we're always going, right, out of the which suppliers are we going to be testing this month? So we're sourcing from them, and then we're buying the products, shipping them off to sell, and we're seeing what happens with the products. If those products work really well and they're better than the previous one, then we'll probably replace one of those suppliers and go back. So for you, when you talk about like the best 5 sites, fantastic. I would say go find 6, 7, and 8. Test them, and if they're better than the 5, fantastic. And by the way, this is like one way you're going to grow, i.e. you are just getting better and better suppliers. And it might be the case that you go, actually, I've got more money now, I've got great suppliers, and some of those old ones I can still keep buying from, so I'll just hire someone else to go source them. So again, getting a VA. But it's kind of like deploying of capital. That's one of the key things we're looking at. So for us, we're not only looking at product selection, trying to buy at higher value items, we're also looking at what is the cash margin we're making and ROI on those suppliers when we sell them. Sell them? will buy from them. And a good example would be that some of our suppliers are like 50% ROI, and then one of them we cut, now dropped down to 11% ROI. So we're like, damn, like we spent actually quite a lot of money with them. It's just too many people are on them. So we're like, no, we need to cancel, get off that. So that's something that we've done or we've seen now, and then we stop that. So good data analytics, a process for checking in on your top suppliers. And by the way, spend is a good metric to start with, but you do need to look at like ROI margin and cash profits. That's really important. And then the final one is just constantly keep challenging it. Why? Because right now those 5 top suppliers are good, but next month one of them might go on a leads list and they all crash because all the new sellers get into it. Tom puts it in the top seller program, says, guys, this is the best supplier in the world. JGL2 has told me about it as one of his top 5. Everyone sources from it, and then all of a sudden it goes down. You might not realize that unless you're looking at the data. Hope that makes sense. Would you recommend looking into new for unfamiliar sites to get better understanding? Yeah, I think you should allocate at least some time every week to trying new sites, trying to figure out new opportunities. Because if you are ever just left with if you're always just doing the same thing, you'll never have an opportunity to improve, even if what you are doing goes down. So you need to always be testing new things. It's not 10,000 hours, it's 10,000 experiments. That's what you're trying to do. Rizwan. How to get brand approval? Well, you can speak to the brand, but generally it doesn't happen. Most of the time, you're probably going to get distributor, wholesaler, manufacturer, or distributor, wholesaler invoices to get brand approval. That's what you're looking for. And you've got to make sure that who you're buying from is legit. So look at them. Are they big? Do they have a good presence? Is it likely that Amazon are going to say, yeah, we know these guys, they're okay? Or does it look like Tom's discount wholesale store that has a really rubbish website and you're like, I wouldn't even buy from them. So Amazon will probably say no. So that would be harm. A Bing, how much are the VAs? So we charge, and you said, thank you, Tom. No problem. Hey, no problem. So if you want to find, so we basically find, hire, train, set up for you, support you for 12 weeks with everything you need to know to manage the VAs. We also support you with the targets. And if you have any problems over the 12-week period, you get an unlimited replacement policy, which means if you do not like your VA for any reason, we'll replace them with another fully trained VA and reset that 12-week timer. And you can do it as many times as you like, and it will keep resetting for 12 weeks. So you can go beyond the initial 12 weeks. So for all of that, and by the way, we've done over 800 VAs for 400 clients. For all of that, we charge a one-time fee of $997, and you get lifetime access to so much more. It's going to support you in just making sure you do the right decisions. I think the best thing I can ever say about a VA is that hiring a VA is easy, hiring a good VA is hard. And that is about someone who's not sharing your deals. That is about knowing how to manage them, what results you should get, how to get those results, things like time tracking, what you're looking for, and just being able to ask the questions quickly is going to save you so much more than the $997, which is what we charge. And it's just going to make you so much more profit in the long run. So that's what I'd really recommend. If you are interested, fasttrackfba.com/VA. You can also book a call and have a conversation with my team about a VA. And obviously, if you've got questions, so we answer that and help you out. But it's a really good service, honestly. Check it out on Google, you'll see it. So no problems, Ben. FBA Ben. Hey, FBA Ben. Right, I've got 7 minutes, guys. If you are got questions, please drop them down below. Obviously, I will answer them. So FBA Ben, with your wholesale model, do you have VAs reach out to the suppliers, just analyze price lists, any training courses planned for wholesale? 1 second. So we're testing it out. Ben, obviously, you're in the Seller Academy, so obviously like my high level one. Rocky, my purchasing manager, unfortunately has left 4 years with me, but he does leave. Now, he used to do all the reach outs. So I'm now doing the reach outs, which to be honest, really takes about half a day a week tops. I mean, absolute tops. We've opened up some suppliers where they're like, minimum order quantity is 20,000. I had a friend today who opened up a supplier. Minimum order quantity is 100,000. I was like, wow, that's absolutely incredible. So I'm doing the reach outs, I'm doing the setup, and then I'm just getting the price lists and passing them to them. So we're still refining all the processes. We're still trying to figure out the model. And again, when we talk about it, is like the problem comes is they're finding good deals. ROI-wise, I think we're like averaging 35 to 40% across all of our wholesale products, which is incredible. Like super happy with that. But just want the cash value up. It's like we have money in the bank, and it's kind of like, how can we spend more? So I'm really trying to delve into that. And the question comes is like, I could share with you how we do wholesale. That's like not very hard. But I think the real question comes is like, how do you get the VAs to go from the OA side to the wholesale side and spend more money? That's the important part. So it's a struggle, and I say that because like I'm happy with where we are, but I want to be doing more, and we have money in the bank to spend, and I'm like, we're not spending it, and it's like, how do I change them? So we need to improve that, but we'll get there, and I will probably do some training, but not yet. Like, I've got a lot of work to get done between now and then, and again, I've got to be like, I feel confident that I know what I'm doing, so that's useful. Ben, let me know if that makes sense. Miguel, what's your OA split of wholesale in USA now? I have no idea, probably like 25% wholesale top end. OA is the majority of it, but like, yeah, I've not really looked at that. We're just kind of like really just trying to get the processes, like really get the processes down. And what does that mean? That means like, how do you open suppliers? What do you look for in a supplier? How do you like, how do you do the CRM system of sending out the messages? What are the messages that we send out? How do we follow up on those messages, the accounts once they open? What do we ask? What questions we need to ask? Then we get the price list. How do we analyze the price list? How do we adjust for like shipping rates properly? What software do you use? How do you do the software properly? Then when you're buying the products, how do you, and like one thing we found was that really funny, like when you come back to the 20,000 order, like one of my sources came back with like 6 deals, and it was like, cool, that's 3,000 spend, but we're so far off. It was like, this was a bit stupid. And then some of the deals they were looking at were all the low value ones. It was like, even if you had enough, we'd never hit 20,000. So it's like, one of the things we looked at is like, when you're doing a big MOQ, just take the price list, sort it by price, chop the bottom half off, and then only look at the top half. And if the top half you can reach very close to the MOQ, then carry on. But if you can't do it on the top half, don't even bother, because you need to be buying the cash. You need to be spending the money to hit the MOQ. And if you're finding all the profit in the lower ones, you'll never hit the MOQ, so it just won't work. And again, there's so many little nuances, and which is why I'm kind of like, when you change business models, like this is why everyone's like, I want to do OA, RA, then wholesale, then I want to do private label. I'm like, my God, do you realize that going from OA to wholesale is so difficult and it's so much work? And like the value is in the nuances whereby it's like negotiating the discount. I had a good friend of mine who basically like they had one product which represented just in this category 40% of their profit, one ASIN. I was like, how did you get that? And they were like, well, I really liked it. So I reached out to my suppliers and I chase, and they had to go negotiate and do other stuff. And eventually we dropped it, and they were dropping multiple 5, nearly 6 figures on the product. And I was like, damn. But it's so interesting. But like, that's where the nuances come. That's where the value is. It's not in like, get a price list scan. It's like, get a price list, scan it, see that they've got some interesting deals of products that are interesting, then go back to them and say, can you get me these? Because these ones are the other ones I want. And by the way, like, you can't teach a VA that. You can't just be like, yeah, scan it and tell me that, because there's like so many nuances. For example, there's a deal we placed today. It wasn't huge. It was like $3,000. And, in one order for 2 SKUs. And the way it worked was, sorry, I'm going off on a tangent here. The way it worked was, the barcodes did not match, and when I put the title in, I was like, yeah, I think it's this product. So then I was like, but this product's amazing, the margin's amazing, everything's great, but I'm not sure. So then I had to go back to the supplier and say, can you send me photographs? This is the quantity we want to order. So they sent me one photograph, and I said, sorry, can you send me all 6 sides, please? And then they did that, and then we're like, yes, it's the same product. Then we bought it, and like, that's so much back and forth. And it's hard to teach a VA to go ask for photographs and to do all this stuff. It's difficult, but you've got to be like, these are the kind of levels that you need to get to. And why? Because, each one of those is a grand, $1,500 purchase per ASIN, which is like, in an OA world, you're like, fantastic. And me, like, I'm looking at this product selling really, really well. So, but there's so many little nuances, and it's like, how do you teach that? That's difficult, but that's where the money is, because other people can't find that, because when you scan the list, it doesn't work. And interesting, if we scanned the list, we didn't even find that product. It was only because I was looking through, and it was interesting. So, yeah, I could be here forever talking about that. Right, TM70. As a beginner, would you keep the products you buy to a minimum and buy more different products rather than buying a lot of ones? I would not buy 1s and 2s. I think it'd be like, Okay, let's do it this way. I've got a video I need to record today. The video is going to be like how to make 10,000. Let's just do some really simple math. 10,000 a month. If you're going to buy some products which are going to sell 10 units per month, so that means you want to buy 10 of them at least, and you want them to sell for $20, you need about 50 units. So 50 different ASINs selling 10 units per month, buy price of $10, sell for $20, that will give you $10,000 per month revenue, which isn't going to be like, oh my God, change the world, but it is going to be helpful and get you going. So if you're buying ones and twos, it's really difficult. I would not be looking at that. I'd be looking at like you want 10 units to be buying. That's what you want to be doing, ideally around $10 per product. Generally below that, I'd probably, like even when you go to your supplier, like Walmart.com, just go to the little side and go buy price minimum $10. Search. Get rid of all the low end stuff because it's just you just can't spend enough money. And if you get a 20% or 50% ROI on a $1 product, wow, you just made 50 cents. It's not even worth getting out of bed for. But if you do a $100 product, 50% ROI, $50, we like that. So your ones and twos don't really work. This is a problem that you face across the board. So I hope that makes sense. Tom is so far behind. Right, I'm a professional seller in the UK. There is another brand in the USA. He is not registered trademark or store UK. Now I want to sell their product. I want to sell it under my own brand. Is that okay? If you you're going into private label world, I can't give you yes or no that's okay without knowing it, nor do I understand. Like if it's not your product, then generally you can't sell it under your brand. But if you create what's known as like unique bundles, which is everyone is really looking for Vaseline lip balm and a pen by Seller Amp, Seller Amp pen. If that is a really I see it on Amazon all the time, people buying those too. If I put that together with a little card that says Tom's how to use the Vaseline pen and Seller Amp, that definitely doesn't sound dodgy. Then the idea is that cool, that could be my own product, so that would work. But if I'm just selling the straight Vaseline on its own under my brand, I don't think that's right. Hope that makes sense. Well, does your course give us Americans wholesale suppliers you recommend for us? No, it doesn't. We don't give wholesale suppliers. Sorry. But you can join and I'll have a chat. Top seller program. But we don't give out suppliers, especially not wholesale, because they're like really, you've got to do the due diligence. You've got to do it yourself. Like that's fine. JGL2, thanks Tom, really useful. When you sold in the UK, how many sales a month would you expect aim for? I've been experimenting with low sales, 10 items to me, very high profit. You can do it. Again, you just want to be very mindful of what your strategy is and the way you want to go. I think we were trying to get over 10 sales a month, anything up to like plus over 10 sales a month. Below that, we generally wouldn't, because the one problem you get with low sales a month is that if the listing gets damaged, i.e. gets on a leads list, then so you need one or two things. You basically need a way to detect when your listings get saturated too quickly, which is a really important thing. So if you have 1,000 listings, you're never going to be able to go through them all manually and go, oh, well, that one's crashed, that one's crashed. You need to be able to detect it before it crashes to crash it yourself and get the hell out of there, because otherwise you're just going to have so much dead stock. That was the problem we found with such a wide range. By the way, in the USA, I think in the UK, when we were selling, I think we had like 400 lines active at any one time. We probably had 1,000 ASINs in back of house, of which a third were active at all times. It was really hard to manage. So if you don't have good processes of managing, then that would be a problem. Over IR all in, I think it's 28-30%. So the wholesale side now is about 35-40. Not in the UK, in the OA side, sorry, we reorder at about 25. So it's about 28-30%. Like actually that's pretty good. So I'm pretty happy with that one. But again, we'd like to do more work. So I hope it makes sense. The highest revenue I got to is about £3,000. Good man. You can beat it. Keep going. JGO2. Also, the vast majority of my goods are imported into the UK, but our order costs below the customs charge. Are you aware of any issues in my total import exceeds certain levels? You need to speak to an accountant. I am not here to be able to give you, yes, that's okay. You do need to speak to an accountant. I think I know what you're doing. You just got to look at has HMRC ever come after you, said you've purposely tried. So there are laws whereby you try and create multiple companies to keep all the companies under the VAT registration threshold, which is against the law, and HMRC will come after you for that if they catch it. but I don't know about what you're saying. I've never heard of anything like that, but you'd have to do your research and speak to an accountant. Hope that makes sense. FBA Ben, good. Love tangents continue. Oh my God. No! I'm going off on one. Cool. How do you handle product restriction violations? For instance, when a product is only in a foreign language, Amazon will remove the listing and give you a violation. Do you hope you can? Yeah, it's a real shame. We've had it a few times where like we now basically just don't sell on any product where the pictures are a different language, which is like, you just like, it's not worth it, because at any point it just takes a complaint and bang, Amazon pull the whole listing and you're just stuck with the stock. So we don't do it. You can't do anything about it. Long story short, is on our process for purchasing. Is the product in English, or red flag? Are there non-English languages? That's it. You just don't do it. It's just like, oh, good deals. Yeah, I know. There's lots of good deals which are dangerous. That's why they're dangerous. The good deals because they're dangerous. Thank you for your time. Found it so helpful. No problem. Come join me. By the way, come join me on the Top Seller program. Or it's only right this week. You can get for $47 per month, and I do a weekly call every Thursday. You can come and ask me questions in a proper call, not like this. You can actually ask me face-to-face questions, which is really, really good. Does your course give UK suppliers? We do give UK and USA suppliers for OA, not for wholesale. Just be mindful of that. Does your course give wholesale suppliers to UK? No, not wholesale, just UK. Right, that's the end of the questions. Tom has caught up after he has gone off on a tangent. Miguel loved it, absolutely loved it. Haha. Right, ladies and gentlemen, it has been a real pleasure. I will catch up with you same time next week. Hopefully I will sort out my display. No idea what's going on, but stay safe. And obviously, if you have any questions, come ask me in the Facebook group. Hit like, hit subscribe, and we'll go from there. So I love that. Stay safe, people. Bye.